Hi, Jonathan.
Good afternoon, or morning still in California, isn't it?
Nice to see you. I'm really looking forward to this.
Hello, everyone. We will start momentarily. I'm just admitting all of the participants. If you don't mind, just mute yourself, and we'll have time at the end for Q&A and any questions you might have. So I'm just going to give a few more minutes for people to join the class. All right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's class. We're joined today, of course, by our presenter, Dr. Jonathan Yarrington from the University of Southern Mississippi. And we have a pretty big class today, so it's definitely going to be exciting. We have 5 singers today, so there will not be any time for a volunteer singer. But there will definitely be time for questions at the end for anything you might have related to the male high voice, for Dr. Yarrington about the school that he teaches at, or anything like that. For our singers, I am copying all of the settings you need to know to go ahead and preset those in the chat now. And yeah, so we hope that everyone enjoys. I'll be keeping time for each singer, and so we'll get started. Is William Field here?
Hi.
Hi, William. So if everyone else can make sure you're muted, and then William, you can take it away with Dr. Arrington.
Okay. Should I start singing?
Oh yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Introduce what you're singing and and begin. Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Will Field, and I'm going to be singing Monticello from Edges. I should do the whole song, right? Not a cut?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Nothing ever happens in Monticello. Let's give a hand for the land of fairy dreams. 'Cause when you hang your hat in Monticello, you end up like your dad. It's really as sad as it seems. Carol at the diner tried to be a singer. Marxist will end up on TV. Everyone has plans for something greater. They never leave town. They just let themselves down. But I won't be pulled down. Not me. Someday I'll pack up my things and move on. Move on. One day real soon they'll come looking for me. I'll be gone. I'll be gone. Ditch this life and never return. And I won't look back. And I'll finally learn how it feels to live under a limitless sky. I'm gonna kiss Indiana goodbye. I'll give my 2 weeks notice at the right age. I'll sell my baseball cards, make some cash. I'll leave a note for Mom that says, I love you. I'll be gone with no trace. I'll get out of this place in a flash. I'll start by heading west on Highway 80. Hit every steak and shake along the way. I'll drive a couple days till I end up in California, then find fortune and fame, receive massive acclaim, they'll wonder how I became the toast of LA. Someday I'll pack up my things and move on, move on. One day they'll come looking for me, I'll be gone, I'll be gone. I'm gonna teach this life and never return, and I won't look back, and I'll finally learn how it feels to be handed my piece of the pie. I'm gonna kiss Indiana goodbye. I know this might sound crazy, but I'm not like other people. More settling for less is fine for some. If I keep treading water here in nowhere, Indiana, I know exactly who I would become. Maybe this whole plan seems just a bit unrealistic, but I'm not saying I could leave today. I'll stay a couple years to really do this. That's when they'll see what more I can be. Someday I'll pack up my things and move on, move on. One day real soon they'll come looking for me, I'll be gone, I'll be gone. I refuse to stay and act like it's fine. You can keep this life, 'cause it sure isn't mine. I can't wait around for the day that I die. I won't miss you, Indiana, but I'm gonna kiss you goodbye. Thank you.
All right. Will, can I ask you, how old are you? Are you in high school?
I'm 18. I'm going to college now.
Yeah, you're headed to college. Okay. Okay, well done. I mean, you got a lot of courage. A lot more courage than I had when I was your age, that's for sure. So good for you. Well, there's a couple things I'd like to work on and give you a couple little things to do or to use, right? One, it doesn't matter what style of singing you do. One of the big issues with the male voice is that it needs to be the chest voice all the way up, right? Some aspect of the chest voice. And the chest voice by nature wants to constrict the breath flow, right? Wants to choke that off. So the only way to get it to not do that is to do things that get it to not do that. And I'm going to give you a little, I call it a decompression exercise or a breathy falsetto or whatever. And I want you to try it with me, all right? And then we'll go back and we'll work on the tail end of this a little bit, okay? So I'm going to start right here like F sharp. And I just want you to make a breathy whoo, like whoo. Can you do that? Yeah. Can you start right on the pitch and go whoo? There you go. Whoo. Whoo. Yeah, more breath, less tone, more breath. This isn't singing. This is just breathy hooting. Whoo. 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 That's it. Take it easy. Take it easy down here. It'll crack into the chest voice. Right, okay. So that's what I call a breathy falsetto, a pure falsetto. It's really just, like I said, a decompression exercise, a way to take all that chest voice that wants to go, and to just say, oh, let's relax some of that out. And that's really just between B3 and B4, the two Bs on either side of middle C. So that's what we just did. Now, There's one other thing about the chest voice that can make it tricky, especially when you're singing with it wide open, like you are, like the style requires, right? And like I said, that's the chest voice gets kind of stuffed up there. So another way to help it sort of behave after you've been doing that, whatever style of singing you're doing, is to bring it back down to its natural habitat, which is sort of in the lower and middle part of the male voice, right? So would you do something for me? We're just going to come down here to like F and just sing ah. Would you sing that? Just hold it. Yeah. Hold it until you run out of breath, 5 or 6, 8 seconds, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Do one other thing for me. Go. Say aha.
Aha!
Yeah, now, aha, with that gesture, just, aha. Yeah, again, aha. Yeah, careful, don't let it slip up into your nose. It'll go, aha. And you gotta get it down here where it belongs. Don't let it slip up in here. Aha. Okay, better, again. Yep. Okay, a couple more. Yeah, hold it a little longer, would you? Yeah. You see, as you hold it, it starts to clean up a little bit. That's why you need to hold it a little longer. All right, last one. Aha. Yeah. I have a hunch, Will, you don't sing down there very often. Am I right? Yeah. So even though you don't want to live down there, I think you need to exercise down to, at least D or C down to the bottom end. Not because you're going to live down there, but because it just needs that grounding, all right? Now, having just done that, can we go back to the slower part of the song? The sort of bridge that's slow, and then the big finale at the end with all the emoting high notes, right? Let's do that.
This might sound crazy, but I'm not like other people. I'll suddenly relax and find the song. If I keep getting water here in Nowhere, Indiana, I know exactly who I will become. Maybe this whole fantasy just fits under the stage. I'm not saying I could be that's what they'll see. What more I can be. One day I'll pack up my things and move on. One day you'll soon.
Okay, Will, hold on right there. So, what is that? Go, is it? What's the word? Move on. Okay, sorry. Move on. Can you start the phrase before that? We're going to stop and work on that.
You want me to do
Can you just do it without the piano? Don't bother with the piano. Yeah, just sing it. If you have a way to find your pitch, go for it.
One day real soon, I'll pack up my things and move on. Move on.
Okay, so Will, you notice down the lower octave, on, move on, that has a fairly decent flow of breath through it. But as you go up higher, all of a sudden it just disappears, right? Can you sing that phrase and keep the same flow of breath that you had down on the bottom end?
I'll pack up my things and move on. Move on.
Yeah, okay. What's that top pitch? Is it a G?
I think so, yeah.
On. Sing that and just hold it for a second, can you? Yeah, okay, so do something for me. Can you sing ha instead, like the word hat? Ha. Yeah, try it. Yeah, now make it a little narrower. Not quite so wide this way, a little more this way, all right? Go. Okay. Now, can you go ha? And let's see what we get. Don't make it wide. Yeah, okay. Now, can you keep, again, as you change from the ah to the ah, can you keep the same flow of breath that you had with the ah and not let the ah constrict? Yeah, okay. Now let's do it this way. E. Do you have a good E? Let's hear your E vowel. Just sing a fifth. E. Go. Yeah, that's really weak, you see, and that would need strengthening. If I were to work with you long term, I would say you need to develop that. So just for fun here, let's do something. Let's go. And bounce back and forth on an E. Don't make it heavy, just let it be nice and bright. That's it. Now don't watch it so much. Try it here. Just let it go. Bounce back and forth. Yeah. Yeah, you see how undeveloped that part of your throat is, right? That it really doesn't want to stand up like that. And the ah and the ah and o or whatever vowel up there really won't behave right until that E is strong enough to stand up like it needs to. You feel it, it kind of collapses or it lets go into a falsetto. So keep working on that. Keep working on the E, and I think that will help. Now, let's try something. Can we get a little more head voice in? Go up on the E and change to the ah, but don't spread the ah. Keep the E nice and closed. Keep the ah nice and closed like the E was, all right? Here we go. Yep. Okay. Can you go half that far on the ah? So we went all the way this far wide open. Can you go maybe half that far this time? Try it again. That was good. Do it again. Yeah, so that's what I would keep working with you on, is to get that E and ah and ah to free up so it doesn't spread so much. Now, we can really close it. We can really close it down, but I don't think your throat's strong enough to oop, oop. Can you sing a closed oo up there? Try it. Yeah, and that's the thing. Oo is the vowel of the falsetto, and it wants to let go, you notice? So, again, develop that E, keep working, don't spread right there, all right? You notice though in the quiet section how much more speech-like and easy that was. It wasn't quite so labored, and from what I could hear, it wasn't so I don't know, struggly. Now, can we go on from here? And let's try the end. We're about out of time, I think, but
50 seconds.
50 seconds. All right. So start from right there, the phrase right before we were, and let's sing to the end.
Don't do it with the track.
Either way is fine.
That's when they'll see what more I can be. Someday I'll pack up my things and move on. Move on. One day will soon come looking for me. I'll be gone. I'll be gone. And if you two stay and act like it's fine, you can keep this life, 'cause it sure isn't mine. I can't wait around for the day that I die. I won't miss you, Indiana, but I'm gonna kiss you goodbye.
Yeah, and don't be afraid, Will. Don't be afraid to let it spin a little bit at the end there. So just this tiny little bit that we've done, that's already a bit freer. It's crucial going forward for you as we finish up here to keep working on that chest voice down in the bottom of your voice so that your larynx doesn't always come up and get tight. So it doesn't all, and then you always have to spread, right? As you continue to develop, keep working on that, keep working on the decompression, and keep singing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, great job, William. It's time for us to move to our next singer. Is Guillermo here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right, so before Guillermo starts, everyone, I just want to remind you to make sure you're on mute. I will copy the settings for the singers, the audio settings again. Make sure you check those. And, we want to have a great time in today's class, so make sure that we know we're not giving singing advice because that is Dr. Yarrington's job for today. But thank you guys for joining. If you have joined the chat late, then make sure you just scroll up to see the instructions for singers and the order for today. All right, Guillermo.
All right, so I'm Guillermo Kimoland, and I will be singing Amor Tibieta by Umberto Giordano from the opera Fedora. Amor tibieta di non amor, l'amor tua lieve che mi respinge. Cerca la stretta della mia man, la tua pupilla esprime d'amor, sei labbro dice non t'amerò.
All right, well done. That's not an easy sing. So good for you. Good for you. How long have you been singing?
Oh, wow. It's been a few years now. I started singing when I was in college. So it's been like 5-6 years-ish.
Okay. So you're in your later 20s, something like that?
Yeah, I'm 25.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, tenor really doesn't start to mature until about 30, 35. So good. So there are a few things I hear. Can we go back to the beginning? The very first thing is you need a couple portamenti on that very first amor. There needs to be a port up there. And same on the D non. Every tenor I've ever heard sing it does that. And it's not in the music, right? It's not in the Larson score, whichever one you have, but it's one of those things that's just done, all right? So would you just sing that opening? That opening, amor, and let's go from there. Yeah, okay. So there's some instability in the chest voice, right? There's some instability in the tone that I want to see if we can address. Would you sing, aha, like we were doing with the last one? Just say, aha, and hold it. Yep. Careful it doesn't slip up into your nose. Again, don't let your throat collapse and turn nasal. Aha. Right? So do that again. Aha. Yep. Okay, let's do it here. Aha. Yeah. Yeah, don't be afraid. Go. Ah.
Ah!
Yeah. Ah.
Ah!
Ah.
Ah!
Yeah, you feel it want to give? You feel it want to let go and slip? Don't let it. Don't. Yeah. It's very kind of a strange feeling to have it brace that hard, isn't it? But that is full-throated, full-voice operatic tenor. It's that way all the way up, all the way up. Now, try this for me. Ah! Uh-oh, you went away, Guillermo. I suddenly can't hear you anymore.
I can hear you for some reason.
Oh, there, now you're back.
There we go.
Okay. So just, ah! here we go.
Ah.
Yeah, okay, now come, we're gonna go down quite a bit lower. Aha, and hold it. Yeah, you feel that start to brace in your throat a little bit? Don't be afraid of that. Let it brace. Embrace the bracing, all right? Aha. Yep. Aha. Be a little more aggressive. Aha. Okay. Yeah, and you feel how the sound starts to pour out a little bit? Pour it out. Let it rip. Okay. Careful, you feel that one, you let go a little bit. Stay out there, stay in the batter's box and take those pitches. Don't be afraid. Do that again. Aha. All right. Now let's take that off. Amor ti vieta. And sing that much, yeah? Amor ti vieta. Go on. Now, this is another, just like Will, this is very common in all of us men. We want to go up and sing high, but we haven't ever actually developed it, right? So some vowels you can get the voice to hold together, but your E lets go completely. You feel it? It has to be able to hold on to that port. So let's do a little what we were doing before. Let's go back and forth there, see what we get. Yeah, okay, you see how heady that is? Really heady, it's very sweet. Do it again. Yep. Don't let it get too nasal. Let it be bright. Don't let it get too nasal. Here we go again. E. Yeah, you feel, okay, so it wants to shut down. So here's how we pry it back open. With the ah. The ah is not in a bad spot. So let's use it. Let's go. Ahai. Ahai, yeah? Ahai. Right. Now don't let the ah slip, right? Ahai. Go for it on that ah. Ahai. Okay. Ahai. Ahai. Yep, couple more. Ahai. Yeah, all right, now. E. Just bounce back and forth. That's it. Doesn't that feel weird? like a weird little giggle right in your throat. And that's exactly what it needs to be. Do that again. That's it. Again. Good. Don't be afraid of the brightness of the E. Let it be bright. Let your tongue come up out of your throat and let it be bright. Here we go. Yeah. You feel you start to get some resistance that way, but in a good way. Some resistance that you can lean on a little bit. That's good. Do it here. Yep, again. Yeah, you kind of have to stab at it, right? stab at it. Off you go. Yeah, don't be afraid of that. You feel that it's a rather aggressive gesture in your throat going to get it to do that. Let it do it. Don't be afraid. What's that? Say that again.
It almost feels like the air wants to stop at times, and it kind of makes it hard.
Yeah. So you kind of have to, you need a snorkel. You need a snorkel to the surface, right, that lets the air in. And that is the brightness of the E, the brightness of that valve. Let it poke its way through so it's not smothered and cut off, okay? What? One more. All right, you feel the vibrato starting to settle a bit. You can hear it. And the voice starting to stabilize a little, so it's not quite so shaky or fluttery for you. Those are all good things, just from a silly little minor third trill kind of a thing, right? So you can work on this at minor thirds. You can do it at fourths, you know, E, or fifths even, E, and just get that built in so that E goes right where it's supposed to instead of going, nope, I'm out to lunch, like it wants to do right now, all right? Let's do a few more of these. We're just going to do one gesture, E, and hold it. Let's see what we get. But not head voice, not on the head voice side. Keep that chest voice in it. Go. Yep, good. Do it here. Very good. Again. Now, Guillermo, instead of placing that first note, just use it like a springboard so that it's not E, but E, ta-da, ba-dum, like you spring off of it into the water, all right? Here we go, E. Come on. Yeah, you feel that? Good. Good, it puts itself together that way. Spring again. Here, just take a leap and see where it goes. Okay, same thing. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it almost feels like it's not going to get there.
Yes, exactly. Welcome to the developing tenor voice. It almost feels like it's not going to get there. Is exactly a very good way to put it. We got one more. Here we go. All right, so that still gets pretty heady, but I'll take where we're headed, yeah? Now, let's do it this way. And up you go, an octave arpeggio. Yep. Good. Good. Would you let the first note settle a little more? Let it ground itself. Let it ground and then go for it. Here we go. All right. You feel that's more stable, there's more tone, there's more chest quality in it, all of the above. Now, let's go back to the beginning. And let's see what we get. Okay, much better. Now, would you treat that just like you were those other gestures we were doing? That's a minor third, just like we were doing. Plow right into it. All right, go. Yeah, don't be afraid. Yeah, don't be afraid of that. Mar. Yeah, go on.
stretta della mia man, la tua pupilla esprime l'amore.
Okay, good. I'm sorry to stop you, Guillermo. We're about out of time. But you notice that Sprime. Well, that's light years from where it was when we started, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, the first time it kind of wanted to go flat, and I think it was just because I wasn't giving it the right amount of air or.
Yeah, it didn't have enough energy. We go and exercise a little, and all of a sudden it holds together. I would say practice this whole aria on just E, right? And get it stable and steady and nice and strong, and then that that'll hold together better for you as well, all right? Good work, good voice. Keep singing. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Guillermo. Great job. We're going to move on to our next singer for today. So next up, we had William and Guillermo, and now we have Adriel Garcia. Are you here?
Hi,
Adriel?
yes.
Okay, all right.
I'll be singing The Circle of Life from Lion King.
Maximum volume.
From the day we arrived on the planet and willingly stepped into the sun, there's more to see than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. There is far too much to take in here, more to find that can never be found. The sun rolling high in the sapphire sky keeps raging on to the endless night. It's a circle of life, and it moves us all. And hope to faith and love till we find our place on a path unwinding in the circle of life. It's the circle of life, and it moves us all through despair and hope, to faith and love, till we find our place on a path unwinding in the circle of life.
All right. Well done. Thank you. You've got you like what you're singing about, and it shows. And I appreciate that. That's the kind of singing that everyone resonates with when somebody really connects with what they have to say or what they're singing about or likes it or all of that. So thank you. I also suspect that you don't sing down in the bottom part of your voice very much. And not that you need to get paid, but I'd like to take you down there a little bit today and see if we can just help get the throat a little more released, a little more open, so that some of that doesn't cost you quite so much.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, so let's come down here and sing. Yep, good. Same thing, just hold it. E. There we go. A few more. Last one. Nice and bright. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Now, yeah, we're gonna go from E to A, and don't drop your jaw. It's yeah, yeah, and don't move. Let it move inside. Yeah, you see, you want to turn into whole back there, and you mustn't let it. So let it come up and be bright inside, just like the E was, so that you get yeah. Right, you feel that lift up and change in there? Don't spread, don't open, we don't, yeah, we can do that, but that's not what we're after right now. We want, yeah, do it again here. Yeah, good, couple more. All right, so let's add one more thing to this because you're doing really well. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna go yeah, yeah. All right, here we go. Yeah, and then get all the way back to right? It's kind of hard. You get caught at and then you're like, how do I get back to the Try for it. Here we go again. Yeah. Good. Very good. Again. Okay. Same thing. No. Don't open your mouth when you change to the yeah. Leave it right where the E was. Let all the change happen inside. So you get a lot more head voice that way. That's really what we're after, is just, and by head voice I mean flow of breath, right? Movement of breath. Here we go again. Yep. Couple more. Now we're getting up to where it starts to get bound up, right? So that wasn't anymore, it was Yeah. You gotta get all the way to without opening your mouth. Can you? Here we go. Very good. Nice. Now, are you gonna sing with these sounds? Not necessarily. But this is working on the engine, right? This is working on the car, getting the oil changed, whatever. That's not the same thing as driving it down the road, right? But when we go back to driving, all of a sudden the car is going to work better because we did some maintenance, yeah? Let's do a couple more of those. Yeah. Good. One more. Yeah, now, can you sing ooh, get a little ooh on the front of the let's hear it. Okay, we get a little more head voice if we put an ooh on the front as well. Here we go again. Okay, good. Can you go back? Can we start the song? I don't necessarily need the piano track unless you really want it, but can we go back to the right before the Circle of Life refrain? So like the sun rising high in the sapphire sky.
Okay.
Can we start there?
The sun rolling high. Oh, let me see.
It's okay. It's okay. I put you on the spot. And I don't know it well enough to. I've maybe even told you the wrong words.
Sun rolling high in the sapphire sky, keep blazing on to the endless night. It's a circle of life.
Good. Okay. So don't spend all your vocal capital right here. I know it's the first time that we hear those words and that music, and it's like I'm gonna give it all, you know. The sup. See if you can sing it and give it your feeling without completely flooring it all the way to 100. Here's the other thing. What is that? That's an F. Okay. Sup. Would you just sing that note and hold it for me on sir? Yeah, okay, better. It was wanting to get stuck before, right? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. It's a circle. Would you do that?
It's a circle of life.
Keep going.
And it moves us all.
Yeah. Okay, so that vowel, you notice, gets caught. Moves us all up. So don't pull it down so far. Can you leave it right where the others were? And it moves us all.
And it moves us all.
Yeah, why not? All of a sudden it's clean. It doesn't, I can hear and literally feel it doesn't have that downward pressure on it. Yeah. The other one had. The other one's stuck and kind of propped into place. And this one's really buoyant and just going right where it should. All right. Can we go back and then continue? So it's a circle of life right there.
It's a circle of life, and it moves us all through despair and hope.
Okay, so that's the next one that gets too heavy. You feel it on air? Despair. Think a little more ah on that, would you? Sing despair. Put a little more ah in it and hold it.
Despair
Yeah. And now don't open your mouth. Now don't open to get to that ah. Just let it poke through inside.
despair and hope.
Right. So that makes a really bright sound that isn't so heavy. It probably feels too wimpy to you, or like it's not strong enough or as strong.
It actually felt a lot freer.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what you're after. So, in general is highly problematic when you go to belt. It's highly problematic in the female voice as well. It just wants to go, eh. So getting that to free up, almost always will clean it up. So just like you did, all of a sudden you shed, it's like you took 4 or 5 cinder blocks out of your backpack, and now you can make it up the mountain instead of being like, oh, I'm dying here. So can we go right there? Despair and hope.
Through despair and hope, through faith and love, till we find our place on a path unwinding in the circle of life.
Yeah, so who would have thought that going, yeah, down in your chest voice would make the rest of it go, oh, okay, we can let go of a lot of that.
Yeah,
That probably cost you, I would guess, 50% less, would you say?
yeah.
Yeah, less work. And if you're going to do 8 shows a week, whether it's on Broadway or at some summer theater or whatever, you don't want to be burning it all up in one song, you know, or in one part of the song, which is, we all kind of want to do, right? It's like, oh, this is the part, make it rain, you know, just throw out all the vocal money you got, and then you're in distress for the rest of the week. Yeah, and it doesn't sound like you're holding back. It doesn't sound like you're crooning or anything. It's got all the ring and the power, and it actually sounds easier. It puts me at ease because it's better in tune, and when it's tuned up better and the breath flows better, it makes us all feel a little more comfortable, right? A little more like, okay, he's gonna make it. I can relax. Good. Let's do one other thing. We got a couple minutes. Let's do that falsetto exercise that I did with the first fellow, with Will. All right, so I'm going to start here at F sharp above middle C, and we're just going to go, ooh. Yeah, so see, can you make a little rounder ooh down here in your throat? Leave your lips alone, but ooh. Okay, yeah, and it's all breath, no tone. It's just ooh, and you're done. Yep. Ooh. Ooh. Bigger. Yeah, a bigger H. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, you feel it doesn't want to let go? Can you blow more air and get it to come apart? Okay, I'll take it. Once more. All right. Till we find our place. Can we go there?
Till we find our place on the path unwinding in the circle of life.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that funny? Just, you would never think in a million years that going, whoo, would make it easier to sing. And yet, you go to do that. And again, there's another bunch of weight that's shed. It's freer. It's easier. Well done. Is that all of our time, Justin? I wasn't sure. I've not been watching. Well, I'm sorry. Okay.
Thank you so much, Adrian.
Good work. Thank you very much.
Up next, we have Mike Fan. Are you here?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great, excellent. So my name is Mike, and I'm currently based here in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And today I would like to sing an aria from Rimsky-Korsakov Sadko. It's the song of the Indian Guest. And here we go. I've cut a little bit of the intro down.
That's great. That's great.
So hopefully it all works.
Yeah. Now, are you singing Russian or French? I guess we'll know soon enough, right?
It's in the Russian, yes.
Okay, okay.
I love Russian repertoire, so I'm a big Russophile. 주신 모에 바루존함 요로가이 인디
All right, thank you. So, who do you listen to?
I have to say I do like Jonas Kaufman, even though a few of my coaches have said not to listen to him. I have to say, actually, I do listen to a lot of female singers, so I'm always trying to get into more male singers.
Okay.
But like,
What about for this? What about for this aria in particular? Have you listened to anybody?
Yes, yes. Well, there's a lot of Soviet singers, like from the 60s. Many
Uh-huh.
of the names I don't remember off the top of my head. I think Geda, Nikolai Geda.
Well, I was gonna say you sound like Geda. You sound like the Geda.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
flattering.
yeah. I mean, your middle voice and all that was like he's been listening to Geda. It sounds a lot like him. I don't know anything about Russian diction. I'm sorry. It's I.
Nervous. I
No, I don't. But we can work on your voice. I have some expertise with Czech diction, but not Russian. I can't read Cyrillic. Ugh. So here's what I want to do. I want to get right at it. What's the vowel when you sing the G?
The first time?
Yeah, is it A?
Yeah.
B. So would you sing that and just hold the G and hold B? Yeah. Okay. Would you do something for me now? Have you ever seen a sword swallower in a show or Cirque du Soleil or something like that? Can you tip your head back like that, like a sword swallower, and let your mouth fall open? All the way, just let it, like you've got a little bolt right here, and your head will just rock back and fall open. Can you do that? Give it a try. Yeah, okay, but I think your head can go even farther, so that you can really, yes, that far. Yeah, off you go. Yeah, right. So what I hear is the pharyngeal constrictors, especially the middle one, wanting to get involved. It's one of your swallowing muscles that helps the food go in the right tube, right? Get into your esophagus, and it also has fibers that wrap around the sides of the thyroid cartilage, and so it can kind of grab and squeeze and try to help you make pitch, but it gives you that
I find a little bit of kind of constriction up there today.
Yeah, so one thing you can do to help limit that grabbiness of that pharyngeal constrictor muscle is to just head back, mouth open like that for a little bit. Yeah, try it once again. Yeah, okay. Now, would you go back and sing a phrase or two before that in that position just to get used to it and then go to it? Yeah, go ahead and look at your score if you need to. That's fine.
Maybe an F sharp?
Yep. No. Head back, mouth open.
Okay.
You got to sing it like a sword swallower. Here we go. There's your F sharp.
Sorry, I'm a little lost.
It's kind of disorienting to have to stare at the ceiling. I understand. Well, once again, see if you can get your head to rock back and just make up the words if you have to, but give me some sound. Yep. Lean back even further if you can. Yeah, good. Thank you, Mike. You see how much more breath flow there is that way, and there's way more tone. Now, you can't walk around and sing an opera like this. You'd break your neck. But that's the feeling of release you need to go for. Not, it's pretty common, to feel like, oh, I got to do something. The pitch is going up. Something's got to happen. Here's the other tricky thing. the main set of muscles that's responsible for elevating the pitch is part of the swallowing system. Guess what else is part of the swallowing system? That pharyngeal constrictor. So when you raise the pitch, all the other swallowing muscles want to join in. And we just have to kind of say, no, we don't need you. Just stay over there. I'll need you later when I'm swallowing, but it's not happening right now, right? When I eat or drink or whatever, I don't need that right now. Okay, now, we're going to do this. We're going to do some octaves, yeah? We're going to go, aha. Here we go. Yes. Now don't jump off the high note, the top note, like you're getting burned. Yeah. Hold it a little longer. Aha. Here we go. Okay. Same thing. Aha. Right to it. Good. Can you do one other thing for me? Can you get rid of the little portamento slurp, the little hook? Aha! Aha! Right to it. Ah! Right to it. Here we go. Good. Good. But now don't stop the sound in between. I know this is pedantic and nitpicky, but it makes a huge difference in terms of the response that you get in your throat. All right? Here we go. Once more. Swing straight to it, but no slurping in between. There we go. Again. Yeah. So do this for me. Back and forth. Yeah, you notice how it gets kind of stuck in sort of in the schlitz in between the two, right? Bounce back and forth. Yeah, you're making it to the seventh, but not all the way to the eighth, right? To the octave. So swing a little higher, a little brighter. Ah, here we go. Ah, bright ah. No. Now, can you do one more thing? Leave your mouth alone. Yeah. You don't need to. Don't move your teeth. Don't open any more than you would to talk. Right? You just Here we go. Okay. Same thing. That's it. Yeah. You feel the release in that? Just swing and let it go. Maybe do a few more. It's going so well. Do a few more. Don't stop so soon. Yeah, you're doing so well. Just keep swinging. Yeah, be a tenor. Show off a little. Okay. Same thing. Okay. Now, don't open your mouth. Wait, don't open your mouth. Just, now you can't, right? What I'm asking you to do is hard. Right, but you can do it. Try it. Here we go. Yeah. Right. I think what's troubling about that to you is that there's nothing to do. Right? The look on your face is like, I don't have a button to push. What am I supposed to do? And that's all of us, right? When you're used to that pharyngeal constrictor doing its thing and all of that, and all of a sudden it's not, you're like, what am I supposed to do then? There's nothing to do. And the answer is, you put your energy into your focus and energy into the vowel, into the expression of the piece, and into the rhythmic gesture. The rhythmic zip of whatever it is that you're singing. Those are where you put the energy. Now, let's go back to a phrase or two before the first high note, and let's have you sing it some and see what we get.
Could I get an F sharp again. Do you want me to do the head thing or just
No,
as if
no, no, just go for it. Don't think about it. Try not to grab. Let's see what we get. Just go for it.
Yeah, a lot easier.
Well, and there's like 4 times more sound, and it doesn't sound like you're hurt. Like Darth Vader's force choke is in there going, or it's good. All right. Well, let's go back to the beginning. Can we do some of the opening?
About a minute and a half left.
Oh, we got a minute and a half. Okay. Just sing the beginning phrase for me. Let's work on that.
Can I get a B?
Yep. So right there, Mike. What's that first vowel? What's the first word?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so sing yeah and hold it. Yeah, that's not what you did when you sang it in the phrase.
Okay. I busted. Okay.
Yeah, you went yeah. It has to have that sense of release all the time. If you do that, then you don't have the release when you really, really need it. So build it in here from the beginning. Okay, the last thing I will say now that's freer is don't let the diction chop it up quite so much. It needs more legato, right? So that we don't get Yes, we're out of time, but keep working on that. Well done today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. Great job there. And we're on to our last singer for today. Our fifth singer is Connor McWhirter. Are you here? Connor? Okay, well, I'm not sure if Connor is here or not. I'm going to assume not. So it's up to you, Dr. Arrington, if you would like to take a volunteer, if you would like to go straight.
Sure, I'm game. I'm game if somebody wants to sing in front of all these people on Zoom. I'm happy to work with them.
If anyone would like to volunteer, you can raise your hand or comment in the chat, and then you can start. Okay, well, it looks like we don't have any volunteers, but we can go ahead and go straight to the question and answer session. So if you guys have questions, you can raise your hand and I will unmute you, or you can put them in the chat. Oh, well, we did, Hendrik said he would like to sing, but without accompaniment. That's fine. Okay,
That's fine. That's fine with me.
all right. Well, go ahead, Hendrik. Thank you.
You hear me? Yeah.
Yes. Tell us what you're going to sing.
I would like to try a part from Il mio tesoro.
Okay.
Um,
The opening, the B section, the end.
I'll just do the beginning.
Okay.
It's just a bit difficult. If you don't see me, I just moved. So my house is still a bit of a mess.
That's no worries. Go right ahead.
Il mio tesoro intanto andate, andate a consolare. Ed ebbe figlio il pianto, cercate di asciugar, cercate, cercate, cercate di asciugar, cercate di asciugar. That's it.
All right, good. Okay, at first it was a little hard to hear. They kept cutting in and out a bit for me, but I think I got enough. I think I got enough to work with. So, do you have a piano there? Is it slightly a keyboard or something?
I have my phone, which has a small.
That's fine. No worries. Let me give you a pitch. Il mio tesoro cerca. Can we go right there on the cerca? Yeah. So, Hendrik, I wouldn't cover that quite that much. It's at least from what I can get. It sounds a little too heavy and a little under pitch. For F natural, it really can be wide open. I don't mean spread, but I mean up. You don't want to up. You don't want to do that too much. Let it be open on that F. Okay, go for it. Yeah. Hendrik, you got a good voice. You seem scared of it. Don't be scared. Do the sing this. Sing on.
It's just because it's because in the score
it's quiet.
Piano and then tend to make the crescendo on the note.
I understand that, but piano and under pitch or that I can't hear doesn't mean very much. So yes. Okay. Now you can sing that bright of an awe softly. You can. So and then right. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Il mio tesoro. Back to the beginning, would you?
Yeah. Il mio tesoro.
So first thing, don't slurp up, don't accent it. It doesn't need a hard cough or anything, but don't drag up from below. Just il right on it.
Il mio tesoro intanto andate.
Now, right there, that same andate gets a little too closed. Andate. Don't let that all close.
Andate.
Yeah, that's it. Even the da is a little da, andate. Just sing those two and hold it.
Okay. Andate.
Yeah, you feel it start to open up and ring out a little bit? It's a little too held in. Hold on. Right here. Aha! Say, aha! Yeah. Aha! And hold it. Let it out. Aha! Now, you're trying to find it inside. You're trying to find it inside your head. Your eyes go in and you're looking and you're trying. Forget about that. Just it's almost like a yell. Up until F, it's sort of the call voice. Anda, aha, just bellow a little bit.
Anda.
Right. Now, you don't have to push it that hard, but you need a bright ah like that. Andate, anda. Right? Go.
Andate, andate a consolar.
Okay. Would you try one other thing for me? Would you sing it on E? E.
From the beginning?
From the beginning. Keep going. Keep going. Good. Now go back to the beginning. Now go back and sing the words. Go back and sing the text.
Il mio tesoro intanto andate, andate a consolar.
Very good. So there's more consistency, more ring. Don't close down on that N. Don't sing on the N there. Consolar. Okay? You still want to let go a little too much. Right here around D and E flat. Il mio tesoro intanto. You want to go tanto and let it be almost too heavy.
Yeah, maybe I'm trying to put down the phrase too much.
Yeah, it's really nice for an art song to do that. But that's harder to pull off unless you're in a really small chamber opera kind of setting. That's harder. It'll just sound like, is he sick? Does he not have a voice? Is something wrong? I'm not telling you have to blast and bellow Mozart. You can sing it musically, but it needs tone. It needs a core to the tone.
Yeah.
And if you finesse it and massage it too much, honestly, this is the rage aria. The finesse is in Dalla sua pace.
I love this one more. It's like
I understand, but and yes, at this point in the aria, he's more collected, right? He comes apart later. He loses it a little bit later, but you really can't croon quite as much as you'd like to. All right, so sing that once more and sing it like.
The part is harder, I know.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think that you have to sing this so that everyone knows that if you had run into Don Giovanni before the statue drug him down to hell, you would have killed him. You would have killed him.
Exactly. And sometimes I think like people tell me like sing it lighter, but I'm like it's a revenge aria or a vengeance aria. So.
I mean, I'm not sure what you mean when you say sing it lighter, because you sort of have to sing it where you're.
Those people are just confusing me.
All right. Il mio tesoro intanto. Off you go.
Il mio tesoro intanto.
That's what it is. You close down a ton, and then you close down on that N, and then you can't get back to the toe without punching it. So don't close down so much.
Okay.
I'm sorry to nitpick, but not sorry enough to not do it. Il mio. You're not a Helden tenor, just il mio tesoro. Go.
Il mio tesoro intanto andate a consolar ed è becino il pianto cercate di asciugar.
Now, what is that? God, is that what it is? I mean, what? Well, I don't buy it the way you're doing it yet. It's like someone told you to do it, and it's not. It needs to be motivated, right? Can you motivate it some way?
Okay.
God, Okay, that one I buy. Yeah. Different, huh?
Yeah.
But there's more consistent tone. There's more just raw tone for our ears to work with then, that way. All right.
Yeah.
Will you sing? You want to sing the end?
Che sol distra. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how it starts on.
It's F to E flat.
Che sol distra.
No. Que son. Not that constricted nasal thing. That's not how you. That's like throwing a blanket over the space heater because it's too hot. That's not.
Okay.
That's not. It'll make it quieter in the short term, but it's not going to solve that issue. You get que son. Que sol distra. Yeah. Okay. So hold on right there. We're going to get to the bottom. Sing ah. Yeah. Go aha. Yeah, okay. That starts to hold on a little bit. You feel it? Yep. Do it that way. On the bottom, O up here. Yeah, you see how it won't close down the way you want it? So your face and your jaw went, oh, I gotta do this. And then it's like, oh, wait, it won't go there. And then it went somewhere else instead, right?
Yeah.
Now, que sol.
Yeah. Que sol distrage morti.
The other thing that will help, Hendrik, is if you don't throw away the pickup. Que sol. Don't accent it, but get your voice going there. Get the throat open and the voice going.
Che sol distrage morti.
Go!
Voglio tornare.
All right, good for you. Non si voglio. Can you sing that once more? The hardest phrase and almost the whole thing. No. Don't let the E get stiff up there. It's a little pinchy. Non si voglio. Can you just sing leave and let it out? No. Just sing the G. Sing leave.
Just the G.
Leave. Forget the rest of it. Forget the vowel and the O. Just sing leave by itself.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you make that E a little brighter? Leap! Let it come up inside.
Okay.
Bigger. Yeah, that's where that needs to go.
1 minute.
Okay? Volley! Something like that. Ready? All right. Now the whole phrase. Yeah, I see the surprise in your eyes because you're like, that didn't go where I'm used to. That didn't go.
Also the control, the breath support.
Yeah, it asked for something a little different, didn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't even have to tell you to push harder or support more.
Yeah.
Your throat just asked for what it needed, right? To get there.
Yeah.
Do that once we're singing. No. Do this once more and then we're done. No. Good. So keep working so you don't stomp on that quite so much, but that's good. Some good progress, some good things to work on, all right? Thank you.
All right, congratulations to all of our singers. We're going to now enter into the question and answer. So the first question is from Stephanie Nelson. She says, are these exercises also great for baritones?
Everything I've done today you can use with any voice type. I use the e, yeah, ah, and other stuff like that with all of my musical theater women and classical women. The breathy falsetto stuff is exactly the same. It's all in that octave from B3 to B4. Just do it with men and women. I think it's because of the length of the vocal tract being about 17.5 centimeters that it creates an interference pattern there that if you set up those conditions on an oo, it will force your adductors to let go. Specifically, the interarytenoids will let go and you'll get that breathy thing. And it just stretches everything out. It's like yoga for the vocal folds. So yeah, pretty much everything we've done today will work. Pretty much for everybody.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Joan Gast. She says, do I understand correctly that it's best not to encourage a tenor to sing in falsetto other than perhaps for exercises and warm-ups? I work with adolescent voices in a high school choir setting. Have greatly appreciated the exercises and demos today.
Well, here's the thing about high school voices are still changing. They haven't really settled. So it's hard to be doctrinaire about that without getting into trouble. You really have to look at individual cases. Some high school kids do great, chest voicing all the way up to high C and whatever, and others need to sing in a head voice or a falsetto and have a harder time. And it just depends. But in general, it really depends on the level of development. Tell me, what was the second half of that question? Or does this work for developing voices for teenage boys?
That was pretty much her question. That
Okay.
Is it best not to encourage a tenor to sing in falsetto?
Well, it's better to have them sing in their falsetto than have them scream. You know, and by scream I mean wide open, yelling, flat, out of tune, costs them a lot. You know, we all know the sound. That's painful to your ears and hard on their voice. So it is better to have them sing in their falsetto than that, but they have to learn to carry the chest up somehow. So some will learn to do it naturally, some will strain away and hurt themselves. Like I said, it's hard to be doctrinaire, but the guiding principle does need to be the health and balance of the voice.
Okay, the next question is, I want to ask about the passaggio passing to the squillo, how to keep the larynx down. Is there any exercise?
Yeah, the octave jumps are really quite good for that, or fifths. You know, where you that sort of thing. It's my larynx came up on and some other vowels. It's hard to focus just on keeping the larynx down because usually when you have a student do that, you end up with something else. You trade one set of problems for another one, where if you start, any of us, if we start actively trying to hold the larynx down, it ends up, you sound like you're trying to swallow your larynx. So what I have found in myself and in my students is that if we develop the chest voice right and well, that tends to create a fairly stable position. If you want to be more aggressive than that, closed vowels like O and oo are really quite useful. I did my doctorate at North Texas with Steve Austin, and we just sang so much O, closed O, O, which almost sounds like baritone, you know? O, and sort of fit your voice. That O and oo aggressively lower the larynx, a closed O. Now, down here in the South, people tend to go, ow, ow. Well, that doesn't lower your larynx at all. It has to be the right throat shape, the right vowel shape. But those vowels, O and oo in particular, can help lower the larynx for sure.
All right, thank you. The next question is from Lily Perez. She says, correct me if I'm wrong, but because the male voice is mostly chest voice, in order to develop the high voice, you must strengthen each vowel ascending into the higher register, as well as the chest and lower register?
Yeah, that's every voice. Every voice has to develop the chest and the high. And or you can think of the mid as well. People talk about that. It's not really a separate mechanism, but it does behave weirdly in underdeveloped or undeveloped voices. So every voice and every singer I work with, we work on their chest voice, we work on their falsetto, we work on their head voice, and we work on the vowels and balancing the two of those out. So yeah, that's everybody. Now, men have more chest voice, sure, but I will tell you with the ladies, it's a lot easier if they come in and have done some belting and have some developed chest voice. I will tell you those voices are easier to work with than a completely undeveloped chest voice in a soprano, where all she has is a head voice. It can take a long time for her to get used to making a chest voice sound to help give the head voice the body and the openness that it needs and that it should have. So every voice you have to do that with. You're not wrong, but it's not just men, it's women too.
So kind of as a next question that goes into that, Christina asked, what about for women over low passaggio?
Well, yeah, I think what they're talking about, I have to guess what you're talking about is the change right at about E or F above middle C, which ironically is exactly the same place that it happens in the male voice, those very same pitches, sort of the end of the raw chest voice and the beginning of, the middle voice or the falsetto or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure what the question is, though. Perhaps I've forgotten. Could you repeat it for me? What about that? How do you deal with it? What do you do?
I assume she's just saying, how do you approach the?
They absolutely have to develop the chest voice down there, and then usually octave jumps, or some head voice kinds of things, to bring in that nice closed kind of quality, head voice quality, and teach the raw chest voice how to behave. Octave jumps, fifths, things like that, where you start in the chest and then you go over to the head and then you come back down in an arpeggio to bring that head voice quality down into the chest voice and sort of reshape it. Those are really, really helpful. Messa di voce, starting soft, crescendoing and coming back are also helpful, but those, most early singers have trouble doing that. It takes a long time to get to be able to do that well.
Okay, the next question. Please discuss the issue of covering pitch area, vowels, acoustical adjustments, and visual adjustments. Great to watch your work. Thank you.
In an ideal world, we wouldn't have to think about covering. And covering ultimately is sort of it's a manipulation. It's also a stopgap. But for young singers especially, I think it's important, especially the men, for them to learn when to close, because most of them have been singing in church or been singing in a cappella groups or pop music, musical theater, and they're not used to closing, right? So to actively look at, okay, here's where you should close and teach them to try and do that is helpful. I mean, I'm reminded of that, I think it was the Juilliard Masterclass where Pavarotti said, you cannot be a real tenor unless you learn to cover and sing dark on F, F sharp, and G or something like that. I teach all my tenors to stay open, like what I was doing with Hendrik just now, to keep that ah open clear to F, and then let it close above that. Now, when I say close and cover, acoustically, all the vowels close in different places, and when I talk about what I'm about to say only applies to ah, all the other vowels will have closed before ah. Ah closes highest because its first formant is also highest. E closes the lowest, and you don't even think about closing E usually because it closes before you think about it because its first formant is so low. So with tenors, I usually have them stay open till F and then cover it, F sharp, G, somewhere in there. And above that, it starts to sort of feel like it opens back out even though it stays in that closed position. Baritones, I'll have them stay open till E flat. And bass types, it depends, but for most of them, I'll have them stay open till D flat. Really low, it would be like C, but D flat, somewhere in there. Ladies, it's not that different, but the chest voice isn't always as aggressive or as pronounced. And the interesting thing with women is that there are things that you feel happening higher registrationally in the voice, an octave or 2 octaves above where we're talking right now. but they're acoustic events. So in that case, it really is helpful to think about, a little vowel adjustment, letting things move a little towards whatever they need to, or a variety of things like that. So it is a necessity, especially in teaching and training voices, for them to learn to close. Because the alternative is to open, right? You either or and those are your two choices. So.
Okay. Next question is how contralto's voices should think the change to chest voice to the central voice.
Well, if you listen to the English and Italian contraltos, they don't really try to hide the fact that they're shifting gears. Nobody really expected them to, especially, who was the one? John Vickers talked at one point about Clara Butt, was her name, Dame Clara Butt, or Butts, one of those two. And you can clearly, you go listen to her sing, and clearly there's videos of her on YouTube, and you can hear, okay, she's in this part of her voice, and then she shifts gears, and she's in this part, and she's in that part. So in some degree, there's always going to be an audible register change. Yeah, Clara Butt was fabulous. She's great. But even I think about Leontine Price, who wasn't a contralto, but never tried to hide that she was clunking down into her chest voice or popping back out of it. Whatever, whether it was Verdi or a spiritual or a Samuel Barber art song, whatever. So I think the idea that we have to try and cover all that up is mistaken a little bit. You want to smooth it out, you want to ease it. Of course, you have to think about what the vowel quality is and the intensity. Your main tools for controlling all of that is what's the vowel, what pitch is it, and what's the intensity. Those will all influence the kind of response you're getting in your throat. So it's hard to give a hard, fast rule, but in general, yes, as you're coming out of the chest voice, you have to let more head voice in and try not to carry it up as high, or know that you're going to open up and get a chestier, beltier quality. Depends on what you're trying to do.
Okay, the next question is, would you comment on your direction of do not drop the jaw?
Yes. So in terms of the acoustic benefits and help that you get from the vocal tract, if you're trying to isolate the chest voice, opening the mouth is helpful, right? But isolating the chest voice is kind of like opening Pandora's box. The chest voice will eventually be like the tomato that ate New York. It will just gobble everything up and choke off all of the breath. So to get it to combine with the head voice or the falsetto, the sort of neutral mouth or jaw position is most helpful. You get something called inertive reactance that way, and we'll all fall asleep if we start talking about that. But basically, you get acoustic help with the transition, and the registers start to play nice when the mouth isn't over-opened, especially in what we think of as the middle voice or the male high voice. The female middle voice or the male high voice, if you open a lot, that's what you get. So to get the head voice to participate a little more and help reshape that chest voice, if you don't open, and those are really your two choices. So the idea of not opening is to allow more head voice to come in and to say, well, we only want chest voice to come in this far, not this far. So if we don't open, we'll only get this much, and we can let the head voice join us. And that's exactly the response that we got as he, and all of a sudden we got a lot more head voice. And when we went back to singing, even in more of a chest voice dominated tone, it had free head voice kind of quality with it. So that's why, combining the registers.
Okay, and Mike Fan, who was our fourth singer with the Russian, asked, any opera repertoire suggestions for lower tenors like him?
Lenski, I mean, you like Russian things, you better sing Lenski. What else? I'm trying to think. I haven't thought about that in so long because I work with a lot of undergraduates, and not a lot of the tenors are ready for big-time arias. Some of them are great, but let me think about that and get back to you.
Okay. The next question is from Shelley. The E vowel in the male voice, is that more common to use? I know for female voice it wants to be the tightest vowel shape, and I have to get students to release it. But for male voice, it encourages connection throughout their range.
Yeah, E is funny. E I mean, clear back in the middle of the 19th century, Manuel Garcia took a little dental mirror and put a light on his head and looked in the mirror at his vocal folds and could see that pinches the vocal folds together in a unique way, in a way that no other vowel does. And that's the vowel he would always start training with. And I still use it quite a bit in a voice that doesn't have that nice, firm, clear quality. Singing on an E will start to build it in, like we saw with Guillermo and some of the others. You know, you get the chest voice to brace in there from that pinching action of the E, and all of a sudden the vibrato starts to stabilize a little bit, the tone starts to stabilize, the ring starts to come in, and then Garcia would take that E into the other vowels, and that's what I'll usually do. Is just so. Yes, I use E with the ladies as well. You just have to be careful as you go higher. It wants to constrict. It can get tight. It can get stiff, especially if they've sung a lot in choir and they're used to some sort of modified choral kind of thing. You never know, what sort of naughty mess you get tied in there on an E vowel for ladies. So it can be a little more problematic, but I still use it for women quite a bit, partly because it has the highest laryngeal position. And if someone is used to pressing down quite a bit, you get that E up where it goes, where it belongs, nice and bright and easy, and the breath flowing through it. You can use it and bring that into the yaw, like I did earlier, and all of a sudden you bring a lot of that head voice quality and freedom and flow of breath into the sound. It just depends on what sort of tangly mess that each student has. But I do like E. I like all the best, but I do like E.
Okay, just for the sake of time, I'll put the next two questions kind of together. Stephanie says, do you have any tips and tricks for changing voices in particular? And then Ann Odlin says, would love for you to talk about how to help a young high school-aged boy develop their upper extension. She works with a bunch of high school boys who are more baritone and are dying to have tenor notes.
Well, it's funny. You wouldn't think that the high notes come from the low, but they do. The best way I found for myself to have, and for my students to develop a top, is to make sure that they have, if they're tenor, make sure they develop a chest voice down to, F, at least down to C. If they're middle schoolers, that's going to be difficult. They're just going to hurt themselves. The best advice I can give, there are several good books about cambiado voices, the changing boy voices. And I'm not an expert there, but I have found, I've worked with a bunch of them every summer at Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp. And I found that doing some breathy falsetto, doing quite a bit of, this is one exercise we didn't do, but just going, yoo-hoo, 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 little minor third, yoo-hoo, 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 is a great way to get the head voice going without them having to think about it. And again, then you strengthen what chest you have, you exercise the head, you go back and forth, you try to teach the two to work nice together. But ultimately, there comes a point where they have to just try it out and see if, I'm going to see if I can carry something up heavy or loud or bigger or whatever. And if it hurts them or not, that's, you say, that wasn't it, let's back away. But there are rep selections, there are exercises and things. I can't think of the name of the book right now, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll tell Justin and he can put it on the website or something about working with the changing male voice.
Okay, and then she asked also how to help young boys develop their upper extension.
Well, how young are we talking? Wait for their voice to change, and then the unchanged voice doesn't behave the same at all because the larynx is smaller and the vocal tract is shorter. So it really, until the voice has changed. I mean, Manuel Garcia's answer was, you're talking about changed voices. Thank you. Okay. Like I said, the best way, make sure that they have a healthy head voice and work on that breathy falsetto stuff like I did today, and then do isolation strengthening exercises in the chest. We just come down here and just hold it, and it'll get clearer and ring, and just keep working down until they have it down to at least low C, down here. And then you can take that and it'll want to slip and let go, and you try to carry the firmness of the E into the yaw, not let it slip or let go. And then once they got that, then just E. E is usually the easiest vowel to start to carry up because it doesn't crack as much. It doesn't want to come apart like ah does. And just start carrying that up till, maybe G, F sharp G, and see how they do. You can do it in smaller amounts, like the minor thirds, fifths. Just play around with different interval sizes and just exercise that vowel position. Because as that E throat position gets stronger, it'll be strong enough to hold on to the other vowels as well.
Okay, the next question is, I found it interesting that Dr. Yarrington did not discuss lifting the soft palate, backspace, etc. Instead, he used vowels. Could he discuss that approach a little bit further?
Well, the vowel is the throat position. And your soft palate can only move a few millimeters. It's not like it moves centimeters. So I found, if I think about my soft palate, I just haven't found it useful for myself or my students. I know for some people, it's the bee's knees. It's like the thing that does it for them. And if that's the case, God bless you, I'm happy. But I have a much easier time myself and with my students just talking about vowel shape, because boy, oh boy, do they make very different shapes in here. And instead of trying to direct all of the soft palate and the tongue and the larynx and the adductors of the vocal folds and all of that, I can just say, hey, make a breathy ooh on this pitch, and ooh, and lo and behold, I get the response I'm after. Or I can say, just say, ah, and I get something else, or yoo-hoo, or aha, or yee, or whatever it is. And we can coax those things into being without having to talk about them directly. I almost never talk about breath in terms of support. I will talk about the flow of breath, things like that, but I almost never talk about support and pushing or anything, or, you know, whatever, tucking or any of that kind of stuff. Almost never. So it's just I tend to approach things through the vowel and through that sort of thing.
Okay, and it looks like our last question is from Christine Abraham. What about repertoire for those undergrad tenors?
Oh, yeah. Well, everyone, for years and years and years, everyone's like, oh, you're a young tenor, you should sing Da La Sua Pace. And I coached and worked with Richard Croft when I was at North Texas, who sings Mozart and Handel and stuff all over the world. And he would just laugh. You know, one of the other faculty would say, hey, Richard, some people give Mozart to students, young students, because they think it's easy. And he would laugh out loud until he started crying, because he's like, that stuff's so devilishly hard. A good aria for young tenor, if they're ready for an aria, is Nemorino's aria from Act 1, Quanto è bella. I think tessitura is not too high, the cadenza is not too difficult, but it has some challenges to it. I mean, I sort of cut my teeth on those Mozart arias and was like, when I finally got to my doctorate, I was like, oh, I can sing these now. Oh, what did they ask? What arias or just rep in general?
Just rep in general.
Well, there's lots of stuff that it just depends on the student. I mean, I have every Joan Boydum book on earth and almost everything Hal Leonard's published of art song collections and stuff like that. It really depends. It really depends on the individual student. But arias with big top notes, big B flats and A's, those are, you know, upperclassmen at least usually, unless it's just a really talented student. We have some of those.
Okay, we have time for these last 3 quick questions. One, Valerie Gerard says, why the breathy I exercises or I exercises?
Like the breathy, the falsetto, ooh, yeah, or the others. It's relaxation, decompression, stretching, stretch out the vocal folds, back off the adductors that want to just get bound up. Think of it this way. When you're singing all the time and using your voice, you're like, you know, working out at the gym and you're doing strength training and you're doing all kinds of stuff. But if you don't ever stretch out, you're like the muscle-bound guy who can't stand up straight anymore. And your vocal folds kind of get like that. And you go to sing and you're like, because you're all bound up. And I know it's crazy, but just going, hoo, 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 sounds like, oh, that's going to ruin your voice. It's going to hurt your voice. But it really is like yoga. It just stretches those vocal folds right out, helps them relax, backs off all that extra pressure.
Okay, Hendrik, who you worked with less, asks any advice for the high A and beyond?
Go for it.
Christine Abraham says, I was wondering about arias. Are they requirements, as they are requirements?
So let me say this, Hendrik. You have to not try to sing that open. If you try to sing, non si voglio tornare, non, you really have to sing an O up there, and then change it a little bit to the I. You know, if you no, you fit it into that kind of position, you'll be all right. But if you try to just you're dead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was the next question?
Yes. I guess this was relating to our repertoire for undergrad tenors. She said that she was wondering about arias because they're requirements for the degree.
Oh, yeah. Usually you can get away with oratorio aria or something, can't you? A lot of places. My aria book's at home, and my brain is tired and spent. I can't think of it off the top of my mind. If there's a way I can get a hold of, there's two young tenors and the other stuff that we're looking at, right? I'll see if I can I'll have message Justin about that and see if he can put it up somewhere.
All right, and our very last question, this is a sort of longer one, says, my voice developed as a female voice through the age of 22 and has been undergoing male puberty for the past 2 years. I'm female to male transgender and on hormone therapy. Will having developed into an adult female voice prior to male puberty have created any significant technical differences between my voice and a cisgender male voice?
So the biggest issue, and it's a highly individual thing. Any sort of growth or hormonal change or hormones after that in terms of how you respond and what your voice ends up behaving like. There is some literature, Lorraine Sims, I think is her name, at LSU has written some about the transitioning voices like that, male to female, female to male, and so on. Generally, though, the thing that happens during male puberty that doesn't happen as much during female puberty is just the growth of the larynx, the size of the larynx and the size of the vocal folds. And what that means is that your larynx, the cartilages won't ever get as big. Once that's done, you don't ever get that critical window closes. You won't get the growth, the lengthening of the vocal folds and the widening of it. Women will have some growth in the larynx. That's why women's voices do change some and do grow and change. But in general, it won't be as much as what happens with men. And then if you take hormones, what those will do is they won't stimulate a ton of growth, if I understand right, in the cartilages or the length of the vocal folds, but they will tend to change the mucosa a bit and some of the thickness of the vocal folds, and definitely the muscularity, the muscular development that will be possible within the vocal folds themselves, and all of the intrinsic and extrinsic muscles of the larynx will be able to bulk up more than they would have generally in a woman's body or in a woman's larynx. So those are some of the differences. So you may be able to get some, it really just depends on the person. The biggest difference is that the laryngeal growth that happens, you can't ever get that back, if that makes sense. But it doesn't necessarily mean you may be able to sing, if you want, tenor or, lower tenor, maybe even baritone. I've known of that. So it just depends on your own body, how it responds and the journey that you're on. So it's will be kind of a fun journey of discovery for you to see what your voice can grow into.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for the great class and the wonderful singing and all of the awesome questions. We've had a great class today. If you would like to get in contact with Dr. Yarrington, do you have contact information to share with them?
I can give it to you, have you put it on there. It's just my email is jonathan.yarrington@usm.edu. Maybe we can put that on the website or whatever, but yeah. Love to hear from you. Come study, come to Southern Miss. Woohoo!
All right, and I just dropped his email in the chat box. If you want to talk just for maybe a minute or so about the University of Southern Mississippi, Dr. Yarrington.
Yeah, so USM is the big music school in the state. The flagship school everyone thinks of is Ole Miss, right? But USM here, we have the doctorate, and we have about between 400 and 450 music majors, about 100 voice majors. We do 2 big main stage shows every year, a musical and an opera. With COVID the way it is, things are kind of odd right now, but in general, we do one opera in the fall and a musical in the spring. We've done things like Phantom of the Opera, Mary Poppins, Drowsy Chaperone, fully staged, costumes, orchestra, all that. It's really fun. The opera as well. The choirs here are excellent. Dr. Fuller conducts the Southern Chorale, and they've been all over the world. Every other year they tour somewhere. They've sung at all the major choral festivals in the country by invitation, and it's just a great little spot to make a lot of music and meet a lot of great people and learn to do some good singing. So that's Southern Miss.
All right, well, thank you all so much. This class will be available, recorded, on our online video library. I do not have a definite date at this time, but it will be there soon. So thank you all. Have a great day.